Welcome back, guys. In this video we're looking at simplifying expressions. In this case we're going to be separating in two parts, adding and subtracting versus multiplying and dividing. And it's really important that you don't get these two mixed up. The adding and subtracting is probably the easiest because let's say we're looking at, say, an apple plus an apple. You're going to get two apples, right? And if you had, say, two bananas and you add three bananas, you're going to have five bananas. If you end up having 6 carrots, take away 2 carrots, you're going to get 4 carrots. If you're going to have, say, minus 7 degrees, okay, and you take away another 3 degrees, you're going to have minus 10 degrees. Okay, so the adding and subtracting, whether positive and negatives, that's fine. And one thing to take account of, if you have an apple and a banana, you cannot do anything to it. It remains the same as just an apple and a banana. But then if we have something like, let's say, 17f minus 3k plus 2f minus 7k, and hoping I'm not jumping too far ahead with this, the whole point is you want to combine the terms that have the same variables. Okay, so you combine like terms is the phrase, and we have a term with an f, another term with an f. So we got 17, say 17 frogs. We're going to add another 2 frogs, so we're going to have 19 frogs. Okay, we've got minus 3 kites, and we're going to take away another 7 kites, and so therefore we're going to have minus 10 kites. So that's going to be our simplified expression when we look at combined terms. Say if we had another example of 2m plus 13l minus 7m plus l, you end up having, okay, so we've got a monkey over here, 2 monkeys. We've got minus 7 monkeys. 2 minus 7 is minus 5. Okay, so minus 5 monkeys left. And we've got 13 lions. We're going to add another lion, and we have 14 lions altogether. Okay, so the adding and the subtracting is fairly simple. I want you to also keep that in mind when it comes to things with indices and powers. So x squared plus 2x squared is 3x squared. Okay, so the variable term is squared, and we can only add other terms that also have a squared. What I mean by that is, if we have something like a squared plus 4 plus 3a squared plus 5, you combine only the things that are alike. So here's an a squared, here we have another 3, so we should have 4 altogether, and then 4 plus 5 is just 9. But what would happen if you had something like, say, 4fg plus 2s minus fg plus s? Same thing, you only combine the terms that are the same. We've got 4fg, we're going to subtract 1fg, so we got 3 of them left, okay? And then we got 2 snakes plus another snake is going to give us 3 snakes. And what I might finish off with is just to emphasize on the powers. If we had 11b minus 3b squared plus 4b squared plus 12b, you'll notice that here we have a b and a b, but the other two terms are squared. So you don't want to combine the squared ones with the non-squared ones because they're not exactly the same. So 11b plus 12b is 13b, and then we can actually put the b squares together. So minus 3b squared plus 4b squared is just b squared. Okay, so that's going to be the answer to that question. Alrighty, so hopefully the adding subtracting makes sense. You can only do it to like terms. Please don't just get it confused with multiplying and dividing as well, because that is a really common error. And I'm hoping, just like anything else, guys, when it comes to algebra, take your time. There's more details in algebra, and it's really important that we take it slow. Okay, so multiplying, dividing. Let's start off with multiplying. Okay, if we had 4 times 3g, we're going to multiply the coefficients or the numbers. In this case, we have 12g. Okay, because 4 times 3 is 12. If we had, say, 4x times 6g, then 4 times 6 is 24, and x times g is just xg. Now, I'm going to say gx, all right? The reason why is I prefer, as a habit, to have the letters in alphabetical order. So if you can do that for me, that'll be great. There's nothing wrong with saying xg, just preference and just for aesthetics, and I guess later down the track, when you do algebra in future years, it is going to be a habit that's required for you to do it in alphabetical order. Okay, so then if I had 4a times 3b times 2c, exactly the same thing. Multiply your coefficients. So 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, and then a times b times c is just abc. Okay, all put together. But looks, what happens if you had 7a b times 3ac. Okay, 7 times 3 is 21. A times a is a squared, and then b times c is just bc. So you can add them all together, just making sure that your pronumerals in common, you raise the power. Okay, so comes down to division. Okay, so division, opposite of multiplication. Let's start off with 8f divided by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. You're left with 4f. Okay, then we have, let's say, 15x divided by 3. Well, 15 divided by 3 is 5, so left with 5x. If we had 50g divided by 75g, now we can know, if you're very good at your timetables, the highest common factor between 50 and 75 is 25. 50 goes into 25 twice, and 25 goes into 75 3 times. Okay, and what you need to understand is that g divided by g is just 1. It just cancels out. Okay, so the answer is just 2 over 3. So reason why do they cancel out? Well, if you think of what's 2 divided by 2, well, it's just 1. What's 3 divided by 3? Well, that's also 1. What's 27 divided by itself? Well, that's just 1. So then g divided by g, that's also 1. They cancel each other out. Okay? Alrighty. Let's look at another question, just a little bit more complicated. Maybe we'll finish off with 2 more. Let's look at 10 mxy divided by 35 mx. Now, when you have something like this, it's really important that you know your timetables well. Common factors is very good as well. And looking at this, we can start off with the numbers. 5 goes into 10 twice. 5 goes into 35 7 times. And you want to cancel out the same common factors, okay? M and M can cancel out. X and X can cancel out. So you're left with 2y is equal to 2y divided by 7 is going to be your answer. Okay. And what I might do is I'll finish off with one last question here. We've got 132 M NP divided by 60 NP. Okay. Now you go, well, 132 and 60, they're big numbers. They are big numbers, but we'll do our best. All right. So let's look at common letters. Well, N's can cancel out. P's can cancel out. Okay. Now, in terms of 132 and 60, I know that 4 goes into 60 15 times. And I know that 4 goes into 132. Well, 4 goes into 125 times, and 4 goes into 32 8 times. So that means it should be 33. Yep. Okay. And then so what we have now is 33m over 15. Can we simplify it? Yes, we can. Okay. So the highest common factor between 33 and 15 is 3. So we can simplify that even further down to 11 and 5. Okay. Now, just what I just realized is that you could divide 60 by 12, which will give you your 5. Okay. And you could also divide 132 by 12, which gives you your 11. So, like I said, your timetables is really important. It really helps you with your division and simplification. If your familiarity with your timetables is not so great, then this is a really good time for you to practice it to make things a lot easier, to make things more efficient. And as we get to more complicated things, it's not going to be as hard or time consuming. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to move on to just something a little bit more complex. And why not? Let's go to 8x cubed times 7y squared times 2z squared divided by 6x times 14y. So we're wanting to simplify this. It's a combination of multiplication and division. And it's about cancelling out common factors. Okay. Now, let's look at the x's here. So we've got x cubed divided by x. And if we just to kind of broke it out to the side, x times x times x is the expanded form divided by x. And so I've expanded into its factors. X and x can cancel out, leaving just x squared. So we'll just cancel that out like that. Same thing with y squared divided by y. Basically, it's just y times y divided by y. We can cancel out common factors, which leaves us with just y on the top. Okay, there aren't any other z's to cancel out, so you just leave it as is. Now what we can do here is look at our numbers, and we could say that, well, 8 and 6 have a common factor of 2. We can then cancel this one out down to 3, and this one will be 4. Okay, so half of 8 is 4, half of 6 is 3. The common factor between 7 and 14 is 7. So 7 goes into 7 once, and 7 goes into 14 twice. Now looking at this, once we've cut things down, we can see that we have a 2 at the bottom and a 2 at the top. Well, that can cancel out with that 2 over there. Now, I've done it all together at once just because this is a little bit bigger, but I would suggest that if you're working with smaller print or your handwriting is a little bit smaller, then to cancel some things out, rewrite everything so you know where you're up to. Please don't do like scribbles like this. It's just going to hide and be it's going to hide a lot of things that you don't want to hide. You want to be able to see everything clearly, and you don't want to make mistakes. So here we have it. I'm going to rewrite everything. We got 4x squared. We've got y. And we got z squared over 3. Okay. And to simplify that, we're going to put 4 on the front. And again, alphabetical order, x squared, y, z squared divided by 3. That is my answer for that question. Okay, so hopefully this segment has helped you. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.